there everyone. Today we're going to be learning about the e-signature feature for Bitrix. This is a very useful feature for other parties to sign certain documents that are needed for the company, maybe some service agreements, invoices, etc. Anything that requires signature, it can either be internal or external, right? So it can be the signature collected from internal company or also for your clients, providers, etc. So we're going to check that out today. We're going to go to e-signature right here. We're going to open that. I've already created an example for you. So let's get going. So if you've never used the e-signature before, this is going to be completely empty for you. And inside of the e-signature, you're also going to be able to see a Kanban view, and you can also switch to list view. Today we're going to be focusing more on the Kanban view though. I just want to show you what the list view would look like. So this is what the list view is going to look like. So it depends on what the needs are for you viewing it here, if you should open the list or the Kanban view. Okay, so let's begin. I'm going to go ahead and create a document now. And here you're going to be able to select from uploading a file, or it can either be an image, a PDF, or a Word document. They're very flexible here. And here, if you've already done a couple of documents before for e-signature, then you're going to see them here, right? So I'm going to do this from scratch all the way from the beginning so that you understand how this works. So I have a document prepared here, just a regular Word document with an example of a service agreement. Okay, so as you can see, I left this blank, and you'll see why, like the date and the client information, the service provider information, etc. And then down here is where we're going to collect the signatures. All right, awesome. So this is the document I created. Of course, you're going to be creating your own document for your own needs of your company. And we're going to show you exactly what that looks like. So I'm going to click here so that I can open and select my file. So I go ahead and open the service agreement, and here we have it already added. I'm going to continue. And here it's going to prompt you to put in some information. So for example, person to sign as the sender, so our party internally. In this case, I'm going to put my own name here. And then it's going to ask you to select the sender. Okay, so here in the sender, again, that's going to be us. It's our company here. And you're going to be able to pull up these company details from your own company details on Bitrix. You can edit this here. Okay, you can actually edit the company details directly on here. And if you were to have multiple ones, you could choose between which one you want to use. Let me show you what that looks like very quickly. So to revise your company details, you can go here to the settings. Open the settings. And then scroll down to company details, select the section, and you'll be able to find your company details here, and you can add more. So maybe you have multiple branches, you can have multiple company details here as well, and you'd be able to select that on the e-signature. Great, so you can modify that as you need to put it in here, and again, you can also modify directly on here. All right, so now we're going to select the recipient. So this would be our provider, our client, etc. And just keep in mind, you can't select an actual company. You have to select a contact, but no worries. We'll see how to connect their company details in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and use an example of a contact I have here. Was it Peter? I'm sorry about that. Pedro, right? All right, so here I have all the information for Pedro. I have his phone number, email. This is my own email so that you can see what it's going to look like once we send it, right? But of course, this would be his email address. This is a fake address, by the way, and the company details, okay? And you can select that as well, okay? So if you have multiple details tied to this contact, you would be able to select from there as well. And you can add even more details from the company, right? You can put in here all of the banking details as well. So use that as you need, as you wish. You can also, again, add the banking details. But for now, we're going to leave it like this. We're going to go ahead and click continue. So once we hit continue, we're going to be able to see the actual document. And here we're going to be able to edit that document. So for example, I have a date section here. So I'm going to go down to the common section over here on the right side and just click insert, and that's going to give me today's date. Okay. And I can actually configure that. I can customize the lettering, the font, the type of font, the number for the size of the text, color of the text, etc. And I can actually select the date that I want to put in there. So let's say that we are making this document today, but we're planning to send it out 3 days from now. We can select another day, right? So no worries, just select any date that you need and then click the green check mark to place it there. And for example, here in the client section, I'm going to go to the recipient fields and I'm going to insert the company details. Okay. So here, again, I have these company details already configured for the contact, and I configured them in the previous screen as well. But let's say that we don't have them yet, no worries. We can actually configure right here, select the value for each one, and we can edit the fields that we want to see here. So for example, if I go to value, it's going to open this and I'm going to be able to modify any of the details here again, or if I didn't set them up in the previous stage, then I can do that here as well. So we're not going to do that. We're going to leave them as is, but you can also edit the fields themselves here. Move them around if you want the company name at the bottom, if you want the VAT here. If you want to add any other fields, you can select them from the contacts. Any other fields that might be necessary for your document, you're going to be able to integrate them here. Just keep in mind that in this area, you're only going to be able to insert fields from the contact itself. Okay, awesome. So we're going to leave it as is. It's looking good. It already has a company name, email, etc. So we're going to leave that there. And we can also put in the service provider information, which would be the sender, right? So I can insert the company details here as well. And again, as you saw before, we can modify those here in the configure section. Awesome. If I need to add anything else, I can also do that. So for example, an individual CRM field. Let's say I need to insert the comment section, right? Maybe I need to insert the comment section. I can select that, or a phone or email, anything at all, right? Maybe a Swift code. So let's, for example, select the Swift code. In this case, it doesn't actually add any information because I don't have anything in the field of the Swift code itself in the CRM item. But it would, of course, for example, if I select the name, let's say it is the company name. If I select that here, then it's going to put in the company name as a individual field, and I can move that around and put it anywhere I need. But in this case, I already put it over here in my company details section. So I'm going to erase that. But you could insert, of course, any information that is needed. You can also add the stamps. If you want to add stamps here, you can. And you can also insert random numbers and text. So for example, total cost, let's say you want to put this in manually, then we would go ahead and edit here. So number format, sequential numbers, current day, etc. You can change the type of number, right? And just click on edit current number to be able to put in any number that you want. In this case, let's say 800. We'll save that. And I can drag this down to the total cost. And there we have it, right? And we can also insert just random text as well. So for example, USD. And I can, oops, sorry about that, folks. And I can drag that here next to the 800. Awesome. Of course, you can do that a little bit better than I can. And of course, you can actually integrate a CRM item field for this. So use the opportunity or amount field to put in that amount, right? This is just for the example. And so under the signatures, you can also add a text, maybe with the client's name or client signature maybe, right? And you can put that under here. And I've also set up one for the sender signature. Awesome. Last but not least, the most important part of this is actually inserting the signature itself. So make sure that you're putting in the signature field in the correct way that you need to send it. So for example, sender, I'm going to insert, and this should go here where the sender's signature is. So that's going to be us. Okay, so Frida Perez in this case that we previously appointed as the one who's going to be signing internally. Awesome. So we're going to place that there, and we're going to do the same for the recipient. For this is the client, again, the provider, client, etc. We're going to insert that as well on this side, and maybe make it a little bit bigger. There we go, and we're good to go. So if you are done customizing your document, you can just click continue. Once you click continue, you'll see kind of a small summary. You'll see the document on this side, the preview of the document, and the small summary on this side. And you can see it's not signed yet, right? You can also change the language if you want to, but we're going to keep it in this case in the same way. And if you made a mistake, maybe here in the preview, it seems like it's not as you want it to be, then you can just click here, edit, or go back. Awesome. So now the confirmation, okay? So this is going to be sent either to the client or to your internal user via SMS or via email. In this case, we're going to do it via email because I feel like mostly we as companies work directly through email. So I'm going to select the email for the sender. So my, let's say my colleague's email. And I'm also going to select a different email for the client, in this case, Pedro Bright, right? So I'm selecting this email, and I have 2 phone numbers assigned to the same client. So I could choose from any of these two to send the SMS with the attached file. Awesome. So again, we're going to do email for this. We're going to click submit for signing, and we are both going to get an email with that information. Great, so our service agreement has been successfully created, and here I'm going to be able to see the company, our internal company information, the customer's information, so sender and recipient, and I'm also going to be able to see the document here. I can open to see what it actually looks like. And let's go and check our email. For example, this is going to be our internal colleague's email. Sorry, this is going to be the contact's email, so the client's email. Let's refresh to see if we've received it. Okay, and now we've successfully created the service agreement, document, and item here in the Kanban. And we're going to be able to see the sender information and the recipient information here as well. Very good. So now let's go to the sender email. So this is the sender email here. And I've already received the email to sign the document. So I'm going to open here, and the document is opened, and I'm going to click sign. It's going to ask me for a code just to make sure that it's me. So I'll go back to my email to retrieve that code and just paste it here. So this is just confirming my company information. I'm going to click next. Apparently we have all the information in the suite or apartment number. Okay, so I fixed it now, and we're going to send the request. And here you'll be able to sign. You can hand sign, so just by drawing here, or you can actually create from your name. So first or last name, initials, FP, right? And it'll create the signature for you. And you can also upload an image. We'll do the hand sign here. We're going to save that. And voila, we have signed the document. So once we receive the signature from all the parties, the client will receive a link to the final PDF file, and so will we internally from the company. Okay, so now let's see if the client has also received the email. So we're going to go here. They received the email for signing. And we're going to click on open document. And here we're going to be able to see the exact same document again. And we're going to be able to see the signature of the sender as well. Okay, awesome. And we're going to go ahead and sign. We're going to check this box. Again, it's going to ask us for that code. We're going to go back and get the code. And here we have the code already. We're going to go ahead and open that. Just copy the code, same as we did last time. Again, this would be the customer view, right? And it's going to ask us again for our company name, email, phone, etc. Basically just validating everything. If anything needs to be changed, this is the time to do it. Sorry about that. So for example, let's say that the VAT ID came in wrong. Maybe instead of a T it was an R. I can change that here. And I can also change this here, which I am actually going to do. Okay, awesome. So I fixed that here again. They could be able to add this as well. So I'll send the request. And it'll prompt me again to make the signature. So I'll just do a doodle here. And I'll do a happy face. Awesome. Not very formal, but again, I'm having fun because this is just an example, right? Okay, so in this case, since the document has already been signed from the sender and I've also signed it as the client, then I'm going to be able to open and download the document. So here I can see the final draft of the document that is already signed, and I can see the certificate as well. So once the document has been signed by both parties, you're going to be able to see that here in the timeline of the item that has been created on the e-signature Kanban. And you're also going to be actually able to see exactly when the document was viewed and by who. So in this case, viewed by a recipient, and also when it was actually signed. So first here, as we signed by the sender first, that's what appears here in the beginning. And internally, I can actually open this document and I can see the signature of the sender already. So I can see that my colleague has already signed. Well, in this case, we both already signed. That's why I see it here. But if I had reviewed that only when the sender had signed, I would only see their signature here. And just like that, you can see the full history here in the timeline. And I can also be moving this in between different stages depending on where I am with the document, right? Also, of course, just like any other Kanban, you can actually create automation rules. And here the automation rules are going to be a little bit different than, for example, in tasks or in deals, leads, etc. Going to be able to track the paperwork. So if the sender already signed, I can add the trigger for it to change to a different stage automatically. Or if the recipient already signed as well, I can track that. I can track if all the parties already signed, etc. So all this can be set up. We're not going to go too deep into this. But of course, if you need our help setting up any of the automation rules, please feel free to contact us and we'll be happy to show you. Very good. Also, another way to actually send your documents for signing is in deals themselves. So I'll show you how that works as well. So to do this same process, but through a deal, we're going to need to actually know how to use document templates. So we have another video that teaches you how to create a template and how to use the templates here on deals as well. I'll leave that video in the description of this video because we're not going to go too much into that because that would make this video too long. And the point of this video is just to learn how to use the e-signature. All right, so we're going to just select this test deal, for example. And here I'm actually going to create a document for this test deal. I'm just going to select one. In general, it doesn't have to be something specific because it's just an example and I already showed you something a little more specific in the actual e-signature section. And here I just want to show you exactly where you would need to click to get the e-signature from your client, from your provider, or from somebody internally in the team. Awesome. So let's do the order confirmation document. It's going to create it once I click here. And also before that, I want to show you as well. Here you could add a new template. So these are all templates that we've previously added for testing purposes. And you could add a new template right here. Okay, so you can upload a Word document. In this case, it only takes Word documents. But again, I'm getting a little bit too much into this part when we want to check out the other part. Okay, so once you create the document and you have it here, again, this is very empty. This doesn't even have anywhere to actually put the signature, but let's pretend that in your template, you do have that place, right? So we click here to where it says sign. And that will take you all the way to the first stage of this video where I showed you where the person to sign as the internal party is, your own company details, recipient, etc. So you would just click continue from here and do everything that we just did already, and you would be able to track that within your deal as well and have it saved to the deal where you're actually having the negotiation. So very convenient. That's it, my friends. It's very simple to use this feature and very convenient. Let us know if you have any questions in the comments, or just write us an email, send us a message to our direct open channel, and we'll be very, very happy to help.